Oh, thank goodness you're here. I, Sam Valentino, private tune detective, am kind of on edge right now. And so are several of the Looney Tunes and a few other Legacy Warner Brothers animation properties.
Oh no! Now what?
Hey, don't forget about me. I was especially on edge.
As you should. There's talk about Warner Bros. Discovery possibly being up for sale with some interested bidders. One of them was Netflix, the really big streaming studio and distributor. That I may not mind. After all, Scooby, you know that they're co-producing an edgy live-action Scooby-Doo miniseries together.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't up end as bad as that certain adult animated reboot I won't say the name of.
Oh.
Plus, with it being live action, that may turn off some kids, except for the ones who really like horror stuff. Also, Netflix is currently streaming the edgy and violent Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated series after HBO Max purged it as part of their phasing out content aimed at kids and families.
Well, that's good.
Indeed it is. And this purging content for kids and families isn't just limited to animated shows and movies. Just recently, HBO Max went and removed Family Matters and Full House, two live-action TGIF sitcoms Warner Brothers produced. But recently, Netflix co-CEO Greg Peters said such an acquisition bid is unlikely, and that, quote, big media mergers don't have a great track record. That's right, the only successful such merger Warner Bros. Went through was Time Incorporated merging with Warner Communications in 1990. Infamously, the Warner Bros. 7 Arts merger in the late 60s didn't go so well. Neither did the AOL Time Warner merger in the early 2000s, or AT&T owning Warner Media, and now Warner Bros. Discovery's merger. Also, right now, Warner Bros. and Discovery are in the preparation stages for splitting up, as I've talked about. And some say that if networks did buy them, that could spell the end for Warner Bros. Theatrical output, given, of course, Netflix produces and distributes content for their streaming platform. But I really doubt that'll happen. They could still release theatrical movies under the Warner Bros. Name. But hey, Netflix would be nowhere as bad as another potential buyer that was eyeing them, Paramount Skydance. Them buying Warner Bros. Discovery would be disastrous. Exactly. And it's not just because of old Scoob's bad memories of the Viacom Via Doom logo. Both conglomerates are financially suffering right now. And such a merger could lead to a big collapse. Not to mention, having Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network under the same ownership would be overkill, and so one of them would have to go. And it would likely, unfortunately, be Cartoon Network. How they seem to just be kind of struggling lately. Also, Paramount and Skydance would end up just sweeping all the Warner Bros. Legacy animated properties under the rug to focus on more of their own, newer and hotter properties like South Park and SpongeBob.
Bingo! This is why I'm especially worried about what could happen if Paramount were to buy Warner Brothers. I mean, look what happened with the Terry Toons.
Exactly, Daffy. The Terry Toons have had a long history of being neglected since the late 80s and early 90s, since CBS eventually bought the Terry Toons studio rights from Paul Terry in 1956, and subsequent buyouts and such led to now being part of Paramount. Not to mention, anything from Fleischer Studios and Paramount Cartoon Studios Paramount Skydance currently owns, having not really done anything with them since. But David Ellison, the owner of Skydance, wants to keep Paramount and Warner Brothers separate companies from each other. It just happens, both sharing a parent company. But me and Daffy's points are still valid. Even if Paramount Plus has streamed some Scooby-Doo movies for this year and last year's Scoobtober. Of course, that's just a licensing deal. Boy, Netflix also currently has Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. And also currently Tubi is streaming Scooby-Doo Where Are You? The Scooby-Doo show and What's New Scooby-Doo. Also, what Paramount Skydance is doing is more like a hostile takeover. Fortunately, that corrupt Warner Brothers Discovery CEO, David Zaslav, isn't too thrilled about that idea. Especially if it means he leaves his position early. So he rejected their initial bid. So at least he does have some sense.
Phew.
Phew, indeed.
This is also bringing to mind last year, Sony tried making a bid on Paramount Global. but it ended up not going through. Hopefully this is what fully comes out from Paramount wanting to buy Warner Bros. Discovery. A good repeat of a failed merger history. And so far, that first bid being rejected, it's already a good sign. Additionally, I know Amazon is also interested in Warner Bros. Discovery, but they haven't submitted a bid yet. And that is a bid David Zaslav could possibly want. Even though Amazon currently owns MGM, they kind of regretted that idea. Not really doing anything for that studio except distributing their library via Amazon Prime Video and such. I could see Amazon merging MGM with Warner Brothers, kind of a more positive version of the failed merger attempt of MGM and Warner Brothers in the 2000s. Amazon would care more about Warner's legacy properties at least.
I hope so.
Right. And another big company that's also eyeing the possibility of buying Warner Bros. Discovery is Apple Inc.
Wait, hold it! Don't you remember what Apple TV Plus did with the Peanuts? Exclusively streaming all the specials and such there without letting network television run them anymore? Do you want that to happen to us?
Now, Daffy, let's not jump to conclusions. The Peanuts thing is just an exclusive deal Apple TV Plus struck with the Charles Schultz family and Wildbrain. As Zach Wolf already talked about here, Warner Bros. Discovery is a whole different ballpark. Apple will be getting a major motion picture studio and possibly several TV networks. Because let me remind you all once again about the impending Warner Bros. And Discovery Global split, where the latter will get the TV networks, including the ones Warner Bros. Used to own, like CNN and TNT and Cartoon Network and Turner Classic Movies. Also, Apple TV Plus is one of the least popular streaming services out there, i.e., it has a low amount of subscribers. But if they merge with HBO Max, that could allow more subscribers. And under the Apple TV Plus name, they could maybe even start implementing content for kids and families again.
Oh boy.
Indeed, Scooby. Also, speaking of which, I see they're offering a Scooby-Doo themed Fortnite pack. So at least there is some new Scooby-Doo content for this year's Scoobtober. And I'm betting that was why we learned of that Scrappy-Doo voice recording session. Fortnite might be adding a Scrappy-Doo skin or something into the mix in the future's part of this. As long as it's not as bad as the live-action movie version of Scrappy. And yes, Warner Brothers is aware of you being one of their biggest franchises, Scooby-Doo. As even if they aren't producing a lot of new material for you right now, they can still release and distribute it across physical media and streaming platforms, along with Cartoon Network and Boomerang and MeTV Toons airing such shows and movies. Though with the latter, as I said, MeTV Toons is owned by Regional Broadcasting, but Warner Bros. Discovery already collaborates with them on licensing content to them, with a couple of exceptions. Namely, the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo requiring permission for the Vincent Price estate, and What's New Scooby-Doo having music clearance rights that need to be dealt with. Compared to the Warner-owned networks like Cartoon Network and Boomerang, have already went through those, and as such, being able to air them as often as they want. But should the Warner Bros. Discovery split fully happen, that could change with the Discovery Global half getting Cartoon Network and Boomerang. And David Zaslav believes he could get a hefty premium for this dividing, and is remaining with the Warner Bros. Studio and streaming side of the split until he steps down from the position in 2 years. Also, I want to bring to mind that back in 2014, 21st Century Fox was proposing to buy out Time Warner, who ended up rejecting the bid. And of course, we both remember how 21st Century Fox, they ended up being bought out by the Walt Disney Company, so they could get their grubby paws on The Simpsons and the movie rights to Marvel's Fantastic Four and X-Men and the original Star Wars trilogy of prequels. But that's old news now.
Yeah.
And we certainly don't want Disney to buy Warner Brothers. I mean, it's one thing if we poke fun at the idea of Disney buying out Hanna-Barbera and a YouTube poop, one that was made 12 years ago, mind you. But big media mergers in real life could just become a mess. Like the Netflix CEOs saying they don't have a great tracking record. Also, I heard that Amazon and Apple lately aren't that interested in Warner Bros. Discovery now. And that Zaslav Muggs insists that the split is going to happen no matter what. Like I said, this is a surprisingly good decision from him.
Yeah, that's right.
Generally he is. given the way he seems to hate us toons, with all the canceling productions and removing them from streaming as tax write-offs. Hopefully after Zazov leaves and no more big mergers or buyouts happen, we can get Scoob, Holiday Haunt being completed and released somewhere. And Warner Bros. Did state there is a new Scooby-Doo production slated for release in 2027, alongside some new Looney Tunes material. Maybe it'll be that Go-Go Mystery Machine anime series announced a couple years ago and thought to be canceled.
Oh, really?
You bet. Of course, for a long time, Warner Bros. Animation has often kept production details on their shows a secret. The voice actors and even the animation of voice recording and sound editing services are often kept a secret until the show is aired or released or something, and people can now look them up in the closing credits. Sometimes that's kind of the stuff clients may expect me to snoop around for, compared to the spooky mysteries you and your human pals go on, Scoob. But anyways, there you have it. Netflix doesn't really want to buy Warner Bros. Discovery anymore, who also rejected Paramount Skydance's first bid, and hopefully keeps rejecting them to avoid a very disastrous merger and media collapse. And Warner is determined to split with Discovery Global by all means now, after apparently learning things weren't working out. But what is working out so far is this Foxtober and Scooptober season for us.
Yeah, October.
And Scooby-Doo here will be joining me and my friends at For Apocalypse later this month.
Huh?
I'm not sure we'll run into any mysteries there, but we'll definitely be ready.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo.